Most men over 60 have no idea that what they're drinking, or more specifically, how they're drinking it, might be the quiet reason their erections are weaker, their energy is lower, and their confidence isn't what it used to be. I know how that sounds. Water? Really? It's just water. How could something so basic be responsible for something as deeply personal and frustrating as fading performance? But I'm telling you this because I've seen it firsthand, more times than I can count. My name is Dr. James. I've spent over 3 decades as a men's health specialist, sitting across from good men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, men who once stood strong, confident, proud of who they were. Now they walk in with their heads a little lower, voices a little quieter, asking one version of the same question. Doc, what's happening to me? Some think it's low testosterone. Others assume it's their heart, their age, their stress. And while those things can play a role, there's one question I always ask first. How much water are you actually drinking? And more importantly, how are you drinking it? That's when most men laugh, nervously, uncomfortably, like I just asked a silly question. Water? I mean, I drink coffee in the morning. Maybe a soda with lunch. I'm not against water. I just forget sometimes. Forget. They've forgotten the one thing their body depends on to function, especially as a man. Because here's what they don't know. An erection is a hydraulic event. It's not about magic. It's not even about desire. It's about pressure, specifically, blood pressure. Your penis fills with blood and stays firm because your body builds and maintains pressure in those chambers. But if your blood is too thick, too sluggish, too hard to move, that pressure never builds. And without pressure, there's no performance. What makes blood flow? Water. Blood is over 90% water. And when you're dehydrated, even slightly, your blood becomes harder to circulate. That means your heart has to work overtime. Your arteries struggle to deliver oxygen and hormones. And the one part of your body that relies entirely on good circulation, it quietly fails to respond. You might still want intimacy. But physically, your body isn't showing up. I had a patient named Jim, 68 years old, former football coach, tough guy, 0 medications. He came to me looking embarrassed, like he didn't even want to be in the room. He said, Doc, I think it's over. I think I'm done. He had accepted that his best days were behind him. But when I looked at his labs, his heart, his hormones, nothing jumped out. The only thing missing. Hydration. I asked him to try one simple change: sip water slowly throughout the day. Not cold. Not all at once. No chugging. Just small, steady sips. 2 weeks later, he came back smiling. Doc, he said, I don't know what changed, but something's working again. And he hadn't taken a single pill. That's the part no one tells you. Sometimes, the thing that's robbing you of your manhood isn't age or disease. It's dehydration. It's the fact that your blood can't flow, your hormones can't move, and your body is just trying to survive. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Because when you learn to drink water right, with rhythm, purpose, and consistency, your body begins to remember what it used to do so naturally. And this is just the beginning. Because even if you think you're drinking enough water, there's something else you need to know. Something that quietly shuts down your testosterone, and makes everything feel a little dimmer. Let's talk about that next. Let me tell you something that surprises nearly every man who walks into my office. You don't have to feel thirsty to be dehydrated. In fact, by the time thirst kicks in, your body is already operating in a deficit. And for men over 60, that deficit doesn't just show up as dry lips or fatigue. It shows up as low energy, brain fog, irritability, and yes, trouble in the bedroom. I've seen this over and over. Guys who say, but doc, I'm fine. I drink water sometimes. I don't feel dry. But when we dig deeper, into their habits, their routines, their blood work, what we find is silent, chronic dehydration that's been chipping away at their vitality for years. One man comes to mind. His name was Walter. 72 years old. Recently widowed. Still sharp, still independent, but something in him felt off. He told me, "Doc, I don't feel sick. I just feel like I'm fading. Like I'm not me anymore." He wasn't sleeping well. He had no interest in sex. He'd lost his drive, didn't want to go out, didn't feel like doing anything. He wasn't depressed. He wasn't on medications. But his body felt dim. Like someone had turned the volume down on his life. When I asked him how much water he drank, he looked away and muttered. "Honestly, probably not much." That's the hidden part most men miss. You see, as we age, our body loses its natural thirst signal. What used to be a clear, "I'm thirsty," feeling becomes muted. You just don't notice anymore. And so, you forget. You replace water with coffee in the morning, maybe iced tea or a soda at lunch, a glass of wine at dinner. But plain water? Not so much. And that quiet, daily deficit builds. It thickens your blood. Stresses your heart. Limits nutrient delivery. And worst of all, it flips a switch in your body, into survival mode. Here's what I mean. When you're dehydrated, even slightly, your body starts conserving. It pulls water toward your most vital organs, your brain, your kidneys, your heart. Everything non-essential, libido, testosterone, muscle building, gets deprioritized. Your body says, reproduction. Not important right now. Let's just survive. It's subtle. You don't even notice it happening. But one day you wake up and realize. You're tired all the time. You don't feel like yourself. And when you look in the mirror, the man staring back feels older than he should. That was Walter. So we didn't start him on testosterone. We didn't prescribe anything. We just rebuilt his hydration. Glass of room temperature water first thing in the morning. Small sips throughout the day. Avoiding caffeine after noon. No alcohol before bed. No chugging. No ice. No guesswork. For weeks later, he came back to my office with a completely different energy. He said, "Doc, I feel awake again. I'm laughing more. I want to go outside. I even thought about asking someone out." His spark was back. And all we did was restore water to a system that had been running dry for years. That's the power of hydration. It's not flashy. It's not a supplement or a hormone shot. But it's what your body has been craving all along. And when you give it what it needs, it remembers how to work again. But even if you're drinking water every day, there's still one mistake I see almost every man make. It's not how much water you drink. It's how you drink it. And that simple habit could be the reason your body still isn't responding the way you want. Let's break that down next. Let's not sugarcoat it. If you're struggling to get or stay firm, the issue is almost always one thing: blood flow. No blood, no erection. It's that simple. Your penis isn't a muscle you flex like a bicep. It's a pressure system. Think of it like a tire that fills with air, only in this case, it fills with blood. And if that blood can't rush in fast enough, or stay long enough, things fall flat. Literally. That's why I tell every man who sits in front of me, no matter what symptoms they're describing, tired, soft, disconnected, start with circulation. And here's the part that most people never connect. Blood is over 90% water. So if your body isn't hydrated, your blood becomes thick, slow, sticky. Like trying to pour syrup through a straw. That's what's happening inside your arteries when you're dehydrated. Your heart's working harder. Your vessels are narrower. And the blood that's supposed to fuel your most intimate moments? It's crawling instead of rushing. And that's a problem. Because an erection is a hydraulic event. It's not about emotions. It's not even about desire. It's about pressure. Blood pressure. When you're hydrated, your blood flows easily, delivering oxygen, nutrients, and nitric oxide to where it's needed. When you're not, everything slows down. The pressure never builds. And your body simply can't rise to the occasion. I remember one patient, Dave, 66 years old, divorced, trying to get back out there. He was working out, eating clean, even taking supplements. But nothing was changing in the bedroom. He sat across from me, frustrated and exhausted, and said, "Doc, it's like I still want to perform, but my body won't listen." I asked him how much water he drank. He raised an eyebrow and said, I have coffee. Maybe a Coke at lunch. I'll drink a little water if I'm sweating." That's when I pulled out a whiteboard and drew him the system. Arteries. Veins. Chambers in the penis. And blood flow. Then I asked him one question. If this entire system depends on pressure, and pressure depends on blood, and blood depends on water, how do you think your body is supposed to perform when it's running on empty? He sat there for a moment. Then said quietly, "Damn. I never thought about it like that." Most men haven't. Because no one tells them. We talk about pills, about testosterone, about stress and sleep, but rarely about blood viscosity. Rarely about hydration. But you know what's crazy? 2 weeks after Dave started sipping room temperature water throughout the day, slowly, not chugging, no ice, he called my office. "Doc," he said, "I don't know what changed, but it's like I flipped a switch." And that's exactly what happens. Your blood gets thinner. Your vessels open up. Circulation improves. And suddenly, the hydraulic system starts working again. It's not magic. It's physics. And it all starts with water. But it doesn't stop there. Because even if you're drinking more water, if you're doing it the wrong way, too fast, too cold, too random, you could still be cutting off your own results without even realizing it. Let me show you the 4 mistakes most men make when they think they're hydrating, but are actually making it worse. Most men don't need more water. They need to stop ruining the water they're already drinking. It sounds strange, I know. But after 3 decades of treating men over 60, I've seen it time and again, guys doing all the right things, drinking more water, cutting back on junk food, even starting to walk every day, and still not feeling better. There's a reason for that. And it comes down to how they're drinking water. There are 4 common habits that quietly sabotage hydration, habits that seem harmless, but end up choking your circulation, draining your testosterone, and keeping your energy stuck in neutral. Let me break them down. Mistake number 1, chugging water all at once. Most men are either all or nothing when it comes to drinking water. They forget to drink for hours, then suddenly down a full bottle like they're in the desert. Here's the problem, your body can't absorb all that water at once. Instead of soaking into your cells, it floods your kidneys, flushes out vital minerals, and passes right through you. You might feel full, but your tissues are still thirsty. Hydration isn't a one-time event. It's a rhythm. Small, steady sips throughout the day, that's how your body wants to be nourished. Mistake number 2, drinking ice-cold water. I get it. It feels refreshing. Especially in summer. But your body doesn't like it. Cold water shocks your digestive system and slows down absorption. Worse, it can trigger vasoconstriction, tightening your blood vessels, right when you're trying to open them up for better blood flow and performance. Room temperature water, sipped calmly, is far more effective. Mistake number 3, drinking only when you feel thirsty. By the time your brain registers thirst, you're already 2 to 3 cups behind. That's especially dangerous for older men, because our sense of thirst fades with age. It's like a warning light that gets dimmer over the years, until one day, you don't even notice it anymore. If you're only drinking when you're thirsty, you're chronically dehydrated, and you don't even know it. Start drinking before your body begs for it. Build it into your routine, just like brushing your teeth. Mistake number 4, drinking while standing or distracted. Sounds silly, right? But posture matters more than you think. When you stand or walk while drinking, your nervous system stays in fight or flight mode. That means digestion and absorption are slowed, and water passes through you instead of being used properly. But when you sit down, even for just a minute, and drink slowly, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest mode. This helps your body receive and absorb what you're giving it. One of my patients, Harold, a 74-year-old retired pilot, followed all my hydration advice but still wasn't seeing results. Turns out, he was chugging cold water standing up while multitasking around the house. We made one change: sit down, slow down, sip. 3 days later, he called me and said, "Doc, I don't know what's different, but I feel more stable. Like my body's finally cooperating." That's the difference between drinking water and hydrating. It's not about how much goes in your mouth, it's about how much your body actually uses. And here's the kicker: even if you fix all 4 of these habits, there are still hidden enemies draining your hydration behind the scenes. Enemies that seem totally innocent, like your morning coffee or that glass of wine at dinner, but are quietly undoing your hard work. Let me show you what they are, and how to stop them before they drag you back down. You can be doing everything right, drinking more water, sipping slowly, avoiding cold drinks, and still feel stuck. Still feel tired. Still feel like your body isn't responding the way it used to. And the reason might be hiding in your daily routine, disguised as harmless comforts. I'm talking about your morning coffee. Your evening glass of wine. And yes, even that healthy bowl of watermelon. These aren't bad things. But if you don't know how they interact with hydration, they can quietly undo all your progress. Let me explain. Enemy number 1, coffee. Almost every man I work with starts his day with a cup of coffee. Some with 2. Others with a full pot. They say, "Doc, it's how I wake up. I need it." But here's what they don't realize. Caffeine is a diuretic. That means it pulls water out of your body. It increases urine output. It taxes your kidneys. And it leaves you in a dehydrated state, right out of the gate. So, even if you sip a glass of water later, your body's already playing catch-up. One of my patients, Vince, 70 years old, told me proudly he'd been drinking more water like I suggested. But he still felt off. When I asked about his coffee habit, he shrugged. Just the usual, 3 big cups before noon. We adjusted his routine. Glass of water before the first sip of coffee. Limit caffeine to 1 or 2 cups. No coffee after lunch. A week later, he said, "Doc, my energy's more stable. And my hands aren't as shaky." Hydration was finally catching up. Enemy number 2, alcohol. Even a single glass of wine or whiskey in the evening can throw your hydration off balance. Alcohol also acts as a diuretic. It depletes your electrolytes. And it affects your sleep, which is when your body restores hormones like testosterone. So, you may think a drink helps you unwind. But what it's really doing is quietly draining your water reserves and crushing your recovery. I'm not saying you have to give up your favorite drink forever. But timing matters. Try spacing out your drinks. Avoid alcohol within 2 hours of bedtime. And always follow it with a full glass of water, ideally with a pinch of sea salt to help with retention. Enemy number 3, water-rich fruits. This one surprises most men. Fruit is healthy, right? Yes. But here's the catch: if you drink water right after eating fruit like oranges, grapes, or melon, you dilute your digestive enzymes. That leads to bloating, poor nutrient absorption, and inefficient hydration. Your body ends up working harder to process the water, and less of it actually gets used where it matters: your bloodstream, your tissues, your performance. One simple fix. Wait 30 to 45 minutes after eating fruit before drinking water. Let your body absorb the natural moisture from the fruit first. And here's a bonus tip. Don't wash down salty snacks or fruits with big gulps of water. That causes electrolyte imbalances and faster flushing, meaning your body loses more than it gains. Back to Vince, he also loved snacking on watermelon in the evening and chasing it with cold water. We simply adjusted the timing. No more bloating. No more late-night urination. And within 2 weeks, he said, "Doc, I feel lighter. More in control. Less sluggish." That's the thing, these little habits, stacked up over time, can either drain you or restore you. And once you remove these hidden saboteurs, your body finally gets a chance to use the water you're working so hard to drink. But there's one more layer we need to uncover. Because hydration isn't just about blood flow. It's also about your hormones, and what happens when your body thinks it's running out of fuel. Let's talk about how dehydration quietly shuts down testosterone, and what you can do to bring it back. Let's get one thing straight: testosterone isn't just about sex. It's about identity. It's your drive, your strength, your fire. It's what makes you feel alive, clear, and ready to take on the day. So when that fire dims, when your motivation dips, when you start pulling away from your partner, not because you want to, but because you just feel off, there's a good chance your testosterone has taken a hit. And one of the biggest reasons: dehydration. I know, it sounds almost too simple. But I've seen it with my own eyes in men who aren't sick, aren't on meds, aren't even old, just quietly dehydrated. Like Walter. Walter was 72, a retired math teacher. Soft-spoken, sharp mind, lived alone since his wife passed. He came into my office with a heavy question on his heart. "Doc," he said, "I'm not in pain. I'm not depressed. But I don't feel like myself anymore. No spark. No energy. No interest in anything, even things he used to love." He wasn't asking for a miracle. He just wanted to know why he felt so flat. We ran his labs. Testosterone. Low. Not dangerously low, but enough to explain the lack of drive. He wasn't eating poorly. He exercised. Slept okay. No major stress. But when I asked about water, he chuckled. Probably not much, to be honest. There it was. You see, when your body is dehydrated, it senses danger, even if you don't feel it. Your internal systems go into survival mode. Your body starts protecting the essentials: heart, lungs, brain. And anything that's not critical, like libido, fertility, muscle building, and yes, testosterone, gets pushed to the back burner. Think of it like a power grid in a blackout. The system reroutes electricity only to the critical buildings. Everything else, lights out. That's what dehydration does. It also triggers your adrenal glands to release cortisol, your main stress hormone. Cortisol isn't evil, it's designed to help you survive short-term danger. But long-term elevated cortisol, that's bad news. Because cortisol and testosterone work like a seesaw. When one goes up, the other must come down. It's biology. So every time your body feels dehydrated, even slightly, it sends a stress signal. Hold back on testosterone. Increase cortisol. Conserve energy. Protect vital systems. And that's when you start to feel it. Low drive. Poor sleep. Mood swings. Weaker erections. Longer recovery after activity. Less motivation to even try. And it all starts with a glass of water your body never got. Back to Walter. We didn't give him hormone shots. We didn't prescribe testosterone gel. We just gave his body what it had been silently begging for, consistent hydration. Water first thing in the morning. Sips throughout the day. No chugging. No cold drinks. No waiting until he was thirsty. Within 3 weeks, he was back in my office, with a smile. "Doc," he said, "I feel lighter. I laughed out loud this morning. And I actually felt something when I saw an old friend." That's not just hydration. That's hormonal balance returning. That's cortisol easing down, and testosterone coming back online. And here's what matters most. This isn't just about boosting hormones. It's about restoring the part of you that wants to live fully again. But there's one more piece we can't ignore. Even if you're hydrating well and keeping cortisol down, most men still forget that their blood, not just their glands, delivers testosterone to where it's needed. So let me show you what happens when hydration and circulation finally come together, and how real men are transforming their health from the inside out. Nothing proves the power of hydration like what I've seen in real men, men who walked into my office tired, frustrated, and quietly defeated, thinking they were too old or too far gone. They weren't. They were just dry. Let me tell you about Carl. Carl was 70 years old. Retired auto mechanic. Tough guy. Calloused hands. Quiet pride. He didn't come in because of a crisis. He came in because he felt like he was fading. "I'm not sick," document. "I just don't feel like me anymore." His blood pressure was creeping up. His energy was unreliable. His erections had all but disappeared. And the worst part? He didn't care. That apathy scared him more than the symptoms. When I asked about hydration, he laughed. "Water? I guess if it's in my coffee." We started simple. Room temperature water first thing in the morning. Steady sips through the day. No cold chugging. No drinking while standing. He didn't have to change anything else. 6 weeks later, Carl came back with clearer eyes and a sharper voice. "My wife asked if I was okay," he said. "She said I seemed like myself again." He wasn't taking a new pill. He wasn't on hormone therapy. He just gave his body what it was starving for, and it responded. Then there's Mike. 67, retired truck driver. Big frame, big presence, no nonsense type of guy. He came in and told me flat out. "Doc, I'm done. My body's not listening anymore." He tried supplements. Even considered testosterone shots. But I asked him to pause all of it, and just hydrate right. Not more water. Smarter water. Room temp. Seated. No rushing. And, most importantly, consistently. 3 weeks later, he walked in with a smirk. I don't know what kind of sorcery this is, but my morning wood came back. That's not magic. That's physiology finally allowed to work again. And then there was Richard. 66 years old. Former firefighter. Still looked the part, but on the inside, he felt worn down. His biggest complaint? I can't finish what I start. Not in the gym. Not in the bedroom. Not even conversations. He'd lost stamina, mentally and physically. So we reset everything, starting with water. A full glass first thing in the morning. Another with a pinch of sea salt before lunch. A few sips every hour. No caffeine after 1 p.m. Final glass before dinner. 4 weeks in, he said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I'm not just functioning again. I feel like a man again." It wasn't about ego. It was about presence. He was sleeping better. Thinking clearer. Showing up for his wife again. Not just sexually, but emotionally. That's the part no one talks about. When you hydrate the right way, you don't just regain performance. You regain connection. Confidence. Identity. And it all starts with something you already have access to, water. These aren't exceptions. These are ordinary men who made one small shift and got extraordinary results. And if that's possible for them, it's possible for you. But if you want to take things even further, if you want to boost blood flow, circulation, and intimacy naturally, there's one tiny habit I teach all my patients. It takes just 7 seconds each morning and works hand in hand with hydration to unlock the power already inside you. Let me show you how. Hydration is the foundation. But if you want to amplify your results, if you want to turn water into fuel for energy, intimacy, and strength, there's one thing I teach every man who comes to me. A simple, 7-second habit first thing in the morning. No supplements. No equipment. Just you, your breath, and a bit of intention. It all comes down to a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is your body's natural vasodilator. It signals your blood vessels to relax and expand, allowing blood to flow freely, especially to the places that matter most. Without it, your circulation weakens. Erections fade. Recovery slows. Focus drifts. And here's the part no one tells you. Your nitric oxide levels drop dramatically as you age. By the time you're 60, your body may be producing only half of what it did in your 30s. But you can turn that switch back on, with nothing more than a slow, intentional breath. Here's how it works. Right after you finish your first glass of water in the morning, take a seat, close your eyes, and do this. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 to 5 seconds. Hold your breath gently for 3 seconds. Exhale through your nose for 6 to 7 seconds. Do it just 3 times. That's it. You've just spent 7 to 10 seconds stimulating nitric oxide production in your nasal passages and signaling your nervous system to relax. You're not just calming your mind, you're opening your blood vessels. You're literally waking up your circulation. One of my patients, Greg, 71 years old, had been following his hydration plan faithfully. He was sipping water throughout the day, cutting back on caffeine, sleeping better. But he said, "Doc, I feel good, but not great. Like something's still missing." So I showed him the morning breathing trick. He raised an eyebrow. "You want me to breathe my way to better blood flow?" I smiled. "Just trust it." 2 weeks later, he walked in looking sharper, more alive. He said, "Doc, I don't know what this breathing thing is doing, but I feel more grounded. More, turned on. Not just down there. In life." That's the power of activating nitric oxide, naturally. It doesn't just help with erections. It improves brain function. Lowers blood pressure. Reduces inflammation. Clears the fog. And when you pair it with smart hydration, your body responds like it remembers what it was built to do. It's like flipping on a circuit that's been dusty for years. And here's what I love most about this habit: it's accessible. No cost. No side effects. No effort beyond a few deep breaths. But the impact? Life-changing. So tomorrow morning, before the noise starts, before the coffee, the phone, the emails, give yourself just 7 seconds. Water first. Then breathe. Let your system reset. Let your body say, "I'm ready." And if you want a clear roadmap for when, how, and how much water to drink each day, so this all becomes automatic, keep watching. Because I'm about to give you the exact daily hydration rhythm I use with every man I treat. Simple, practical, and proven to work. The number one question I get from men after hearing all this: "Doc, I get it. Water matters. But just tell me exactly what to do." I get it. At this stage in life, you don't want vague advice. You want something simple. Clear. Repeatable. So here it is, your daily hydration blueprint. This is the same rhythm I give my patients, and it works not just because it hydrates you, but because it respects how your body actually absorbs and uses water. Let's walk through it. Step 1, first thing in the morning, 1 full glass, 8 to 12 ounces. Before coffee. Before food. Before anything. Your body wakes up dehydrated, every single morning. Your brain, your heart, your blood vessels, they're all waiting for that first signal. So give it to them. Room temperature water. No ice. Sip slowly while seated. Don't rush. This 1 glass helps thin your blood, stimulate your digestive system, and set your body's circulation back into motion. Want to amplify the effect? Pair it with the 7-second breathing trick you just learned. Step 2, mid-morning, another glass with a pinch of sea salt. About 60 to 90 minutes after breakfast, have a second glass. Add a small pinch of high-quality sea salt, not table salt. Why? Because minerals matter. Sodium, magnesium, potassium, these electrolytes help you retain hydration instead of flushing it out. Especially if you've had coffee earlier, this step brings balance back to your system. Step 3, around lunch, 1 or 2 glasses, depending on activity level. Drink seated. Sip slowly. Try to drink before your meal rather than during. That helps digestion and prevents dilution of stomach acid. If you've been physically active or sweating, add a bit more. Step 4, mid-afternoon, 1 glass to beat the crash. This is when most men start to fade, energy dips, focus slips, cravings kick in. That's often not hunger. It's dehydration. A simple glass of water around 2 to 3 p.m. can restore mental clarity and stabilize blood sugar. Step 5, early evening, final glass, at least 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Don't wait until right before you lie down. Late water intake leads to midnight bathroom trips, which destroy your deep sleep and your hormone recovery. This final glass is your recovery fuel. It supports your liver, kidneys, and hormone regulation while you sleep. Make it part of your wind-down routine. What to avoid? Don't chug. Don't rely on thirst. Don't drink cold water straight from the fridge. Don't drink while walking around or distracted. Hydration is a rhythm, not a reaction. The goal isn't to flood your body, it's to nourish it. One of my patients, Richard, followed this exact routine. Within 3 weeks, his afternoon crashes were gone. He slept deeper. Woke up clearer. And most importantly, he said, "Doc, I don't just feel hydrated. I feel present." That's the difference between surviving and actually living. Your body isn't asking for much. Just a little consistency. A little attention. A little rhythm. Start with this routine. Stick to it for 10 days. And you'll be amazed how quickly your body remembers how to feel strong again. But there's one more thing I need to tell you. One final piece that brings all of this together, and it's not just about health. It's about reclaiming something you may not even realize you've lost. Stay with me. What comes next might be the most important message of all. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another pill, another commercial promising to restore your youth. What you need, what your body wants, is something far simpler. Something it's been quietly asking for all along: consistency. Rhythm. Respect. I've seen this story play out hundreds of times. A man walks into my office, thinking he's broken. He's tired. Disconnected. His confidence is hanging by a thread. He thinks it's age. Or genetics. Or just life catching up to him. But when we strip it all back, when we take a real, honest look, what we often find isn't permanent damage. It's depletion. It's imbalance. It's years of the body operating on low power, begging for help in small, silent ways that no one ever taught him to hear. And that's where water comes in. You've heard it your whole life: drink more water. But no one ever explained why it matters, or what happens when you don't. Now you know. Dehydration thickens your blood. It chokes your circulation. It raises your cortisol. It lowers your testosterone. And slowly, quietly, it dulls your spark, not just in the bedroom, but in every part of your life. But here's the part that matters most. You can turn it around. Not next year. Not when it's too late. Today. One sip at a time. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to carry around a gallon jug or count every ounce. You just need to commit. To show up for yourself, every day, with a simple act of care. A glass of water in the morning. A steady rhythm throughout the day. A deep breath. A moment of stillness. And the quiet decision that you're not done yet. You are not done. I don't care how many birthdays you've had. I don't care how long it's been since you felt like yourself. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, get their spark back. Not by trying to be who they were at 30. But by honoring who they are now, and giving their body what it's been missing. That's not about going backward. That's about returning to yourself. One sip. One breath. One new rhythm at a time. You want stronger erections? Start here. More energy? Start here. Clarity, connection, drive, confidence. It all begins with hydration, done the right way. You already have everything you need. The power isn't in a bottle or a prescription. It's in your hands, your habits, and your willingness to care for yourself in a way no one ever taught you. So the next time you feel tired, foggy, or disconnected, don't reach for caffeine. Don't blame your age. Ask yourself one simple question. Did I give my body what it needs to show up today? And if the answer is no, start with a sip. Let that be your reset. Let that be the moment you come back to life. Because your strength was never lost. It was just waiting. And now, it's time to reclaim it. If today's message helped you in any way, consider sharing it with a friend, a brother, or someone who might need to hear that it's not too late to feel strong again. And if you believe in the work we're doing, empowering older men with real knowledge, without gimmicks or shame, please consider supporting this channel. Even a small donation helps us keep this mission alive, and accessible to more men who've been left in the dark for far too long. Until next time, stay hydrated. Stay steady. And remember, strength isn't something you chase. It's something you come home to. One sip at a time.